When it comes to the TOEFL reading section, it could be difficult for many reasons. The first reason being it's the first ever thing that you do when you start the test. Another reason could be that it's very boring to you. Either way, in this video I'm going to share some tips that will help you get the highest score possible in the TOEFL reading section. So the quick breakdown of the reading section is you get to read 2 different passages, 10 questions each, so 20 questions total. You are being timed, of course, but you can see the text the entire time you're answering questions, and you can also skip questions and come back to them later. The passages themselves are very academic, college level textbooks and published work. So don't worry too much if you don't understand something or you're not 100% familiar with the topic of the passage, because everything will be explained in the passage itself. So it's a pretty isolated experience in terms of you read it, and if you don't know it, by the end of it, you know what it is. You don't really need to pull any outside knowledge in order to complete the reading section. The purpose of the reading section is just to see how well you work with text. And the first tip I want to give you is get familiar with the different question types. Of course, not every question is the same, but they follow a very specific formula, and all questions have specific types. The question types are not obviously labeled in the test, like this is question 1, vocabulary question, whatever, right? But you should be able to identify them and understand what you need to do to answer each question correctly. And there are vocabulary questions like, what does this word mean? Why does the author use this word? And, find the synonym for this word, that sort of thing. There are things like, insert a sentence question. Like, here's a brand new sentence, and different places where you can put it in the existing text. So which one is the best place? There's a rhetorical purpose question, like why does the author mention this? What is the purpose of saying this? Stuff like that. And it all kind of works in a similar way. And each question type does have a strategy behind it. So being familiar with those will help you a lot. You won't get lost. You will know exactly what you need to do. Okay, this is this type of question, so here's what I'm looking for, here's what I need to do, and stuff like that. And in terms of all the different strategies for each type of question, I do talk about them a lot in my brand new course, How to Score Over 100 on TOEFL Without Trying Too Hard. In the reading section portion of my course, I just walk you through each question type, what they look like, and what you need to know about them. I'll explain what you should, look for and pay attention to for each question type. I provide you with very clear and detailed guidance on how to tackle each question for the reading section. And we actually do a lot of different practice exercises together, so you can get answers and explanations for each question and learn why some answers were correct or incorrect, as well as why, other responses worked or didn't work, and all of that stuff. Everything is super detailed, and I show you everything. My brand new course, How to Score Over 100 on TOEFL Without Trying Too Hard, combines the best TOEFL IBT prep strategies with exclusive feedback, recommendations, insights, and tips. Whether you're just starting your TOEFL IBT journey or you're aiming to boost your scores, this course can help you get further and faster. You can check it out right now by clicking the link down below in the description box to learn more information about the course, see if it works for you, and sign up and join us. Because if I do make a video on every single question type, it's gonna take super long, and just check out the course. You won't regret it, I promise. And with that being said, we're moving on to tip number 2, which could be a little controversial, but trust me, I think it's a pretty good idea. Do not read the whole text. It is not necessary. Now let me explain. I don't mean just ignore it completely, obviously. What I'm saying is, when you start the reading section, before you even see the questions, they show you the text. But the text is also shown while you're answering the questions. You don't really need to wait, right? So what I would do is read the title and then read the first sentence of every paragraph, so that you get the basic idea of what's going on in the story and the sequence of events, and then go straight to the questions. Don't even waste time, because you are being timed from the very beginning before you actually see the question, so don't waste time. You can read it as you go, because check this out, it's gonna be the next tip, but I'll give you a little spoiler. Most of the time, when they ask you the 10 questions about a passage, it's in order. Like you kind of start at the beginning from the first paragraph and you just keep moving down with each question, except for the last one. The last one is about everything altogether, but still. So you will read the whole, you will end up reading the entire thing while you're answering the questions. So why wait? And when you answer the questions, you want to use two different reading techniques. The first one is skimming. And skimming is kind of like you quickly go through the text to get sort of an overall sense of what's going on and just overall general idea and understanding. You don't really pay attention to the details, you just get the main idea. That's what you can do before you start answering questions, very briefly. And then you're gonna start scanning. And scanning is different. Scanning is trying to search for keywords and identifying sort of the places. You jump around the passage and you find the word you're looking for and then you read stuff around it. And honestly, scanning is enough to actually answer the questions. And then by the time you get to the last question, that's pretty much about everything, the whole text, you're already familiar with it because you scanned, and the way you scanned, you still ended up reading the whole thing, but you were answering questions at the same time. So that gives you a much better understanding of what's going on because you had to answer those questions while you were reading it, and you were reading it while you were answering questions. So you don't really need to read the whole thing before you start. It's not very productive and you're just gonna waste time, and let's not waste time. Okay, so the next tip is don't skip questions. You can, and then you can come back and do it, which is fine, but don't just skip questions entirely. See, the thing about the questions and the way they are designed is you move through the text with the question. So by completely skipping something, you are not really using this opportunity to get familiar with the text as you're answering questions. So still try your best and maybe just make a mental note of like, okay, question 3, I'm not super sure about this answer, so I'm gonna come back to it later, because you can. But don't just skip them entirely. You have to do the work, right? The questions actually help you read the text, so make sure you do it like that. The next tip is if you're struggling to find the correct answer, most likely it'll be much easier for you to find incorrect answers first. So you go through all of the options and you identify the ones that are 100% not correct. And it'll make it easier for you to land on the correct one by just elimination. So basically, sometimes you have to shift your focus a little bit and do the opposite, right? Let me actually find the incorrect ones first. The next tip is watch out for absolutes and extreme language. So one way to eliminate a lot of incorrect choices is paying close attention to absolutes, extreme words, exaggerations, or limited vocabulary like never, always, the best, the worst, all, everyone, must, only, stuff like that, right? So if it's extreme, most likely, 99% chance, it won't be the correct choice because, they really try to stay away from it, especially if it's a college related text or something, a published article of, academic college level. There are no absolutes. There are no generalizations. There is nothing of that sort. So you want to make sure, and they try to get you with that, and they try to trick you, and they say, okay, and they put those words in the incorrect answers on purpose. So make sure you watch out for those as well. It'll make it easier for you to eliminate incorrect answers. And what I mean by extreme language, right? It's easy to identify. For example, A, everyone likes pizza. You will not see this on TOEFL, by the way. And B, some people tend to like pizza. Everyone likes pizza is a generalization and it's just not true because, it seems insane because pizza is so good, but it's possible. So you want to avoid answers like that. The extreme answer will most likely be incorrect. And the last tip I have for you is, of course, time related, right? Time is always stressful. So make sure when you practice stuff, practice with a timer. Some of those online practice tools will be timing you already according to the test standards and regulations. But if you're just doing something on your own with a book or a paper situation, make sure you set a timer, right? You'll be given 36 minutes to answer 20 questions. So make sure you stick to the time. With that being said, right, some questions might take longer than others, especially that last one. That last one is super nasty, right? Vocabulary questions are pretty easy and straightforward, so they shouldn't take more than 60 seconds to complete, right? Detailed questions, maybe it could be a little longer, right? So aim for, about 60 seconds per question. Of course, it's not going to be exactly there. Some questions might be faster, some questions might be longer, right? But that's sort of like the gold standard that you want to keep in mind. 60 seconds per question. Don't stress about it, but just always keep it in mind. Reading skills are definitely very difficult, especially when you read something you're not interested in. It could be challenging even with something that you are interested in, but reading is just a pretty tough skill to master, especially in a completely different language that you're learning. So I recommend you just read consistently as much as possible so you can get used to being an active reader and identify those keywords and scan and skim and all of those things, right? You don't have enough time. 36 minutes is not enough time to fully read and comprehend 2 pieces of academic text. It's just unrealistic. You just can't do that. And they know it too. So what they're looking for is for your academic skills of skimming, scanning, and working with the text in the most efficient way possible. You are not asked to recap the text. You are not asked to write an essay about it. They're just asking you questions. So make sure you have those expectations, right? You don't try to do the most. Only do what's being asked of you, and you'll be fine. The reading section is only difficult because it's a lot. Aside from that, it's pretty straightforward. 20 questions, that's all you got. And it's the same. It's the 10 question types twice. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy reading a lot of very cool academic college level articles and texts. I know I would. All right, guys, well, this is everything I have for you today for the reading section. Make sure to let me know in the comments down below what you want to see next and what you want me to talk about in terms of the TOEFL test and just everything the way it works. And I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to check out and sign up for my brand new online course, How to Score Over 100 on TOEFL Without Trying Too Hard. We don't have time. We don't have energy. We want to be good at English, and we want to learn and make sure our English skills are on point. This test sometimes feels like a detour, but it doesn't have to be, and I'll teach you how to do it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.